Hey, how about some tricky riddles that will put your brain to work? Ready? How fast can you solve this one? Grace has 7 sons and each of them has a sister. How many children does Grace have in total? The answer is 8. I bet all the sons have the same sister, so 7 sons plus 1 sister equals 8 children. Stephen's family was away this weekend, but he was found unconscious outside his mansion. Investigators had 3 main suspects. All of them were in the house when it happened. The first person was Maya, but she claimed to be innocent. "I was cleaning the house in the morning and I took a nap in the afternoon," she told the investigators. John, the butler, said, "I was told to check the food inventory in the afternoon." And the last person to be interrogated was James, the driver. He claimed he'd been far away from the house that day.
"I was driving the boss's children to a garden party."
Which of these people do you think is guilty? It was James. All family members were away that weekend, so his alibi can't be true. What English word has the same pronunciation even after you take away 2 of its 3 letters? It's B. Phew, that one took some work. Look at these images and try to guess what's wrong. Duh! In the last picture, the woman is trying to eat soup with a fork. Like that would work. On a lazy Sunday afternoon, 7 friends decided to go to the mall. Esme, Evelyn, and Elise grabbed a cup of coffee each, while Ava, Ella, and Emma decided to drink some refreshing soda. Using this logic, can you figure out if Esther chose to drink coffee or soda? Esther is drinking coffee. The secret is in the girl's name. Esme, Evelyn, Elise, and Esther all have 2 letters E in their names, just like the word coffee. There were 4 pairs in the basket and 4 people in the room. Each person took 1 pair. In the end, there was still 1 pair left in the basket. How is that possible? The last person took a pair that was still lying in the basket. Mary's birthday was coming up and she decided to treat herself to a relaxing day at the spa. During a massage, Mary dozed off. When she woke up, the money she had in her purse was missing.
Oh no!
Mary had 3 suspects. The cashier, Erica, claimed, "I was having lunch in the back." Catherine, the masseuse, said, "I went to the back of the store to get some extra oil." The last person was Monica. She was another customer. She said she hadn't seen anything and had just been waiting for her appointment. Can you tell which one is the culprit? The thief is Catherine. She must have waited for Mary to fall asleep and then took her things. Look at the money hidden behind the oils. Hey, it's time for a hair appointment to trim those split ends. But in this scenario, there are only 2 hairdressers in town who can cut your hair. This guy or this girl. Which one should you choose? The girl, of course. If there are only 2 hairdressers in town, that means they cut each other's hair. And judging by the haircut the guy gave the girl, it looks like he doesn't really know what he's doing. If a rooster lays an egg on top of this cabin, in which direction will it roll? Aha! Roosters don't lay eggs, so it wouldn't roll anywhere. The shopkeeper of an expensive skincare store called the police because someone had robbed his business. He didn't notice the culprit, but according to the security camera footage, there were 3 customers in the store at the time of the robbery. Police officers questioned each of them. Michael said he'd been buying some stuff for his pets. The second suspect, Kayla, was looking for ointments and some aloe vera gel. The last person, Rachel, told the interrogators she'd been busy looking for lotions. Can you tell who's lying? Michael is the culprit. The skincare store doesn't sell pet products. Duh. Peter is a rich man who owns a lot of expensive jewelry. One day, he woke up and noticed that all of it had been stolen.
Uh-oh.
He called a private detective to solve this case. Peter's wife Carla was the first one to be interrogated. "I was showering at the time," she said nervously. Bianca, the housekeeper who had been working for the family for years, was not in the house. She said, "I was cleaning the garage." The last suspect was Barb, the house chef. "I was making lunch for the family," she told the detective. Can you tell who stole the jewelry? It was Barb, of course. She claimed she was cooking lunch, but the crime happened at night. A man lives on the 80th floor of a high-rise building. On rainy days, he takes the elevator all the way up. But on sunny days, he only takes the elevator halfway to his floor. And then, he takes the stairs the rest of the way. Why does he do this? Well, my friends, it so happens that the man is short. Normally, he can only reach the 40th floor button. But on rainy days, he manages to push the 80th floor button with the help of his umbrella handle. Genius, huh? On a rainy day, Miranda decided to work from home. At one point, she went to the bathroom. But when she got back, she noticed that her cell phone and money had been stolen right in her own house during the day. There were 3 people in the house at the time. Her sister Beth claimed it wasn't her. "I was still asleep at the time because I'd gone to bed late yesterday." Her other sister Anna said she'd been taking a stroll in the garden when it had happened. "I was watching the night-scented orchid bloom." And lastly, there was Josh, Miranda's boyfriend. "I've just got home for lunch," he said. What do you think? Which of these 3 suspects stole Miranda's money and cell phone? Anna is the culprit, of course. Night-scented orchids only bloom at night, so she probably sneaked in and grabbed Miranda's things while the girl was away. A farmer rode into the village on Monday. He stayed in the village for 4 days and rode out on Monday. How is that possible? The farmer's horse is named Monday. I bet you didn't guess this one, did you? Uncle Ben's farm experienced a terrible downpour, and all but 15 pigs were missing and couldn't be found. How many pigs are still in the barn? If you said 15, you got it right. So, there are 3 important rooms in a house. The first one is a library full of rare books. The second room stores piles of money and gold. And the third room has boxes full of expensive jewelry in it. In case of a fire emergency, in which room will the police try to extinguish the fire first? The correct answer is none. Police officers don't fight fire. That's the job of firefighters. Virginia accidentally sent an email to her boyfriend instead of her best friend. She didn't want her partner to see it, so she took his laptop while he was sleeping and tried to delete the message. The laptop required a password to unlock. Luckily, there was a post-it with a hint. History, 3. Music, 5. Book, 2, 3, 1. Yellow, 1. What's the passcode? Each number indicated the letter Virginia had to select in the corresponding word. The third letter in history is S. The 5th letter in music is C. The second, third, and first letters in book are O, O, and B, and the first letter in yellow is Y. The password is Scooby. Carol was invited to a Halloween party in an abandoned house. Her friends asked if she was up for a challenge, and she said yes. Soon enough, she was locked inside a room. In this room, there was one door and 3 light switches next to it. Behind the door, there was an empty closet with nothing but a light bulb. Her task was to figure out which switch controlled the light bulb inside the closet. She could flip the switches however she wanted, but once she opened the door, she couldn't touch the switches anymore. Sometime later, she managed to get it right. How did Carol do it? Okay, let's go step by step. She flipped switch number 1, then waited for a few minutes. Then, she flipped it back to off and immediately flipped switch number 2. Then, she opened the door and checked the light. It was turned off. So she realized it wasn't switch number 2 that controlled the light. She decided to touch the bulb to test if it was hot or cold. If the bulb was cold, it would mean that switch number 3 controlled it. But the bulb was hot, so that meant that switch number 1 controlled it. Way to go, Carol! To get back to the party, Carol had to solve another riddle. There were 2 hourglasses in front of her. One hourglass measured 7 minutes, and the other measured 4 minutes. She needed to time 9 minutes using both hourglasses. How could she do it? First, she turned over both hourglasses at the same time. By the time the 4-minute hourglass was done, the other one still had 3 minutes left. Carol flipped the 4-minute hourglass over again. By the time the 7-minute hourglass was empty, there was 1 minute left on the other hourglass. And by the time the 4-minute hourglass emptied again, there was 1 minute's worth of sand in the bottom half of the 7-minute timer. She flipped it over again, so there was 1 minute's worth of sand in the top part of the hourglass. And when the 7-minute timer finally emptied again, 9 minutes had passed in total. Phew! That took some work. Someone stole a rare diamond from Mrs. Monica Fraser's house. Mrs. Fraser claimed she'd walked into her bedroom one morning and found that the glass box in her dressing room had been broken and the diamond had been gone. She called a detective, who soon arrived at her place and asked some questions. Based on his inquiries, he gathered 3 suspects. Mrs. Fraser's gardener, Steve, had the key to the house. Her cousin Sophia was staying with her for the week, and the cleaning lady Adeline cleaned the house every day. Steve said he was on holiday that week, so he wasn't anywhere near the house when it had happened. Sophia said she didn't even know her cousin had a diamond hidden in her house. And Adeline said that she'd been cleaning the house at around 10 p.m. the previous night. Everything had seemed all right. Who stole the jewelry? It was the cleaning lady. It seems that right after she broke the glass and stole the diamond, she also wiped off the pieces of glass left on the floor. On a cold winter day, Jason woke up after a medical procedure. He was lying in bed when the doctor walked into his room, saying there were 3 women outside claiming to be his wife. All 3 of them wanted to see Jason, but only his wife was allowed to do so. Look at the women. Which one do you think is telling the truth? The woman wearing a white shirt is the only one that has a ring on her left finger. She's the wife. It was a lazy Sunday morning, and John was having breakfast in the kitchen. Suddenly, he heard glass shattering. He walked into the living room and saw that someone had just broken one of his windows. He was mad and decided to go outside to see if he could find the culprit. There were only 3 people in the street, so he talked to each of them. The first was one of his neighbor's children. He was coming back from his football practice, holding a ball in his hands. He said he'd been going home at the time of the incident. The second person was Stephen, John's neighbor and longtime friend. He was carrying a toolbox. The man said he decided to come home to fix John's window. The last person was Julio, a mailman. He was riding his bike, throwing newspapers on people's front lawns. He said it had been hours since he'd passed John's house. Soon enough, John figured out who had done it. How? It was the mailman. If you look at the lawn, the newspaper is lying on the grass beneath the window. He threw the newspaper towards the mailbox, but missed it, and it hit John's window. Whoops. It was a stormy night. Kate and her boyfriend stayed up late watching a soap opera. In the middle of it, there was a weather forecast. The weather lady said it would keep raining for 2 more days, but in 72 hours, it'd be bright and sunny. Kate turned to her boyfriend and said that the weather lady was wrong, and the girl was right. Why? Because in 72 hours, it will also be nighttime, so it can't possibly be bright and sunny. It was Amelia's dream to go skydiving, but she was afraid of heights. One day, her friend took her to fulfill her dream. Amelia jumped from an airplane without a parachute and didn't get hurt. How is that possible? The plane wasn't flying, it was still on the ground. Duh. Dave, an archaeologist, traveled to Egypt on a very special mission. He spent days excavating ruins hidden under the sand, and the only thing he found was a coin marked 10 BCE. When he showed it to his colleagues, they told him the coin was a fake. Why? Well, because the designation BCE didn't appear until after the beginning of our era. It was raining when Mrs. Moore called the police. She said someone had just bumped into her car and driven away. When the police arrived, the only person next to the place of the incident was a man fixing his tire. Mrs. Moore said that that was the car that had bumped into hers. However, the gentleman said that it couldn't be true because he'd been busy fixing his car the whole time. Can you tell who's lying? It's the guy fixing his car. The rain started just recently. If he'd been fixing his car this whole time, the ground underneath it would be dry. But look, it's wet. This means he's just arrived there and is actually the one responsible for the incident. 4 friends decided to meet up for coffee one afternoon. Someone asked which one of them was the oldest, and they answered with a riddle. Mia is 3 times older than Anna, but 3 years ago, Anna was a year younger than Claudia is now, and Olivia is twice as old as Anna. So can you put the girls into order by age? The correct order is Mia, Olivia, Anna, and Claudia. Here's a quick one. What belongs to you, but others use it more often? Your name. Outside a fancy palace, 2 sentinels were guarding the main gate. They were standing, looking in different directions, one towards the west and the other towards the east. At some point, one of the sentinels asked the other, "What are you smiling about?" How could he know that his colleague was smiling? Well, despite the fact that they were looking in different directions, they weren't standing back to back. They were facing each other. Kevin was away on business and had to spend the night in a hotel. After a full day of meetings, he returned to his room to get some rest. He went to bed but couldn't fall asleep. After tossing and turning in bed for hours, he called someone. didn't say a word, and then finally fell asleep. Who did Kevin call? And how could he finally fall asleep? He called the room next door, as his neighbor was snoring very loudly. The ringing woke the neighbor up, the snoring stopped, and Kevin managed to doze off. You've just come back from a long vacation. There, you bought a new suitcase to store all the new things you got, but you don't remember the code. Luckily, you left yourself a note on your cell phone to help you decipher the code to open the lock. 682. One digit is right and in its place. 614. One digit is right but in the wrong place. 206. Two digits are right but both are in the wrong place. 768. All digits are wrong. 380. One digit is right but in the wrong place. What's the three-digit code? Zero, 4, 2. At first, you'll be a Sherlock trainee. Look carefully at the pictures and pay attention to the smallest details to solve the riddles. Which one of these students has 3 mothers? It must be this guy right here, the one with the 3 sandwiches. The guy with 3 glasses got them from the cafeteria. He must be very thirsty, but it's not a sign of 3 mothers. But this one definitely brought sandwiches from home, so I bet it's him. Let me know if you disagree. Let's move on. One of the girls has a pet at home. Can you guess which one? It's the girl in the middle. Look, her hands and arms are scratched. She must be living with a cat. Okay, look at these 3 people. Who is a vampire? It's this guy. See, he doesn't cast a shadow. Something's wrong. Chastity was at a party and met 3 guys. All of them claimed to be pilots, but one of them lied. Can you guess who's not a pilot? Pilots must have perfect eyesight. This guy is wearing glasses, so he's not a real pilot. Look at these 3 students. One of them is left-handed. Can you figure out who exactly? It must be this girl. The outer side of her left hand has some ink stains. It happens when she writes. Since we write from left to right, her arm covers everything she's just written. 3 best friends met for a coffee in the evening. Can you tell which one of them has a pet? Look at this girl's bag. There's dog food in there, so she probably has a dog at home waiting for her. This one is super easy. 3 sisters came to visit their parents. One of them got engaged while she was away. Can you tell which one? It's this girl who's wearing a ring. 3 men came to a job interview. The company didn't want to hire fathers because they needed full commitment for the first year. All men said they were single and had no families, but one of them lied and actually had a daughter. Which one? It's this guy here. Why would he wear a pink scrunchie on his wrist if he wasn't making his daughter's hair right before the interview? Okay, now let's go and look at people's houses. Here are the bathrooms of Daryl and Tiberius. Which one of them has a girlfriend? It must be Tiberius. Look, there are 2 toothbrushes in his bathroom. Nevaeh and Nicolene are students. Both of them live in a 1-room apartment with their friends to split the rent. Their mothers once came to visit. Take a look at Nevaeh and Nicolene's bedrooms. Can you tell which one of them is dating her roommate? It must be Nevaeh. In Nicoline's bedroom, there are 2 single beds, and in Nevaeh's bedroom, there's just 1 big bed. Look at these 3 friends. One of them isn't really a human, but which one? Look, this guy right here has only 4 fingers. Perfect, we trained you well. Now let's solve some cases. The Citibank was robbed, and Detective Callum was on the case. After a long investigation, the police managed to track the robber and found the money hidden in the nearest desert in a cactus bush. They couldn't see the robber's face, but there were 3 suspects. Take a look at the people. Who is guilty? It's this man. Look, he has many scars on his arms and hands. He must have gotten them when he was digging the money in the cactus bush. A group of friends asked Billiam if he wanted to join them on a hike that weekend. He said that he couldn't because he had broken his arm. The next day in school, Billiam, indeed, appeared with a broken arm. So he stayed at home and his friends went hiking. On Monday, the friends met in school again. Billiam said that he had just stayed home watching TV. His friends told him about the hike and asked why he had lied about the broken arm. Why did they decide that his arm wasn't really broken? Last week, Billiam's right arm was broken. On Monday, it was the left one. He must be faking it. Mr. Tucker called the police and reported that he had been robbed. Detective Callum arrived at his place and found Mr. Tucker tied up to a chair. Mr. Tucker said that he had been sleeping when someone wearing a mask had broken into the room. They took him right out of the bed, tied him up to the chair, and then took all the savings he was keeping in the wardrobe. When they left, he managed to call the police because his cell phone was in his pocket. Still, Detective Callum didn't believe him. Why? Mr. Tucker said that he had been taken right out of bed, but the bed was perfectly made. I doubt that a robber would care enough to make Mr. Tucker's bed on their way out. Detective Callum was spending the winter holidays at a ski resort with his friends. In the morning, they were going to go skiing on the fresh snow that had fallen at night when a local police officer called him and asked him to come to a hotel nearby to solve a case. So, Detective Callum had to go. Someone robbed the cashier's desk and there were 3 suspects. Questley said that she was in her room all night sleeping. Egbert said that he was out partying in a different hotel and had just come back around an hour ago. Fenton said that he had been binge-watching a show all night but hadn't stolen anything. Who is guilty? It was Egbert. If he had just returned, he would have left his footprints on the fresh snow, but there were no footprints leading to the hotel as Detective Callum was walking there. And the name Egbert will make anyone suspicious. There was a car accident in the suburbs, and police arrived to investigate the case. The driver went into a cliff right where the road was taking a dangerous turn. The car turned around, and he was pushed out of it and got stuck nearby. He had his cell phone on him, so he was able to make a call. A police officer helped the driver out and asked him to show what was in the trunk. The driver gladly opened it with his keys. In the trunk, there was his suitcase, some instruments, and a spare tire. The police officer said that the accident had been staged. Why? The driver took the keys out of his pocket. If it had been a real accident, the keys would have remained in the car. Mr. Grayson called the police and said that she had been robbed. Detective Callum arrived for the investigation. Here's what she said.
It was almost midnight. I was in my room upstairs painting. Suddenly, the power went out. There was no light or electricity, and I could only see the streetlights outside. Then, the stationary phone rang. I was scared, so I didn't pick it up. I stayed upstairs, and in about 10 minutes, the light came back. I just went to sleep, and now, in the morning, I found out that someone stole my grandma's diamond ring.
Detective Callum didn't believe her. Why? If the lights and the electricity were out, how would a stationary telephone ring? This lady is making things up. Gavin drove to get some groceries and parked his car in front of the store. Of course, he forgot where he had parked and couldn't find his car. Luckily, he had taken a picture of his parked car and he opened it to look up the number of the parking lot. The problem is that his parking lot number is covered and the number of the lots nearby doesn't make any sense. Can you figure out what's Gavin's parking lot number and where he should search for his car? The numbers are just turned upside down in the photo. The numbers are 86 through 91, and his car is parked in 87. Now I have a short logo quiz for you. I'll show you a logo and you have to tell the company. Here's the first one. Do you recognize it? It's Honda, a Japanese car brand. This one is super easy. What is it? This is Pepsi, of course. What about this cute crocodile? Does it ring a bell? This is Lacoste, a French clothing brand. Another easy one. I bet you have it on your phone. Yes, of course. That's Spotify. What about this one? Yes, it's Nike. This one is a very fancy brand. What's your guess? That's Louis Vuitton. Okay, another one for you. It's harder, but you've got this. What's your call? This is Reebok, an American footwear company. Do you recognize this bull? Is a Lamborghini logo. This is a painfully familiar yellow rectangle. Where is it from? That's the National Geographic logo. Porsche and Vinette live in a country where postal services are super unreliable. Everything sent by post is stolen from the package. How can Porsche send his wife, Vinette, a diamond ring if both of them can buy locks, but don't have keys from each other's locks? Porsche can lock the box with the ring and send it to Vinette. When she receives the box, she should lock the box with her lock and send it back to him. When he receives it, he can open his lock and remove it, and send the box back to Vinette with her lock only, so that she can open it once she gets it again. There is a box filled with balls of different colors. 5 red ones, 8 blue ones, and 11 purple ones. Ninja has to pick out balls blindfolded until he's sure that he has at least 2 balls of the same color. What's the minimum number of balls Ninja should take out to be sure of that? Worst case scenario, he'll be picking out the balls of a different color every time. There are 3 colors, so if he picks out 3, they might all be different. But if he picks out 4, then the additional one for sure will match one of the existing colors. So, Ninja should pick 4.
You walk through the streets. There's a warning on a post about lizard people charging at the inhabitants of the city. You remember investigating this case, but you couldn't find these reptiles. Now you need to go to the park. For several days, a large werewolf has been scaring the residents there. You know that the werewolf has a wife, and she is the only person who can calm the monster down and help him return to his human form. You have found 3 girls. Each of them might be the werewolf's wife that you're looking for. You ask his wife to approach him, but none of the girls admits she's the one you need. So you have to make your own choice. Do you see some wool on this girl's clothes? It's the wolf's fur, which means she's the wife. She walks up to the monster, hugs it, and the werewolf turns into a human. You're walking back to the car and hear some screams coming from the water. A woman is calling for help. You run into the river and swim toward the drowning woman. But when you approach her, you see 3 people. They're all screaming, but only one of them is a real human and needs help. The rest are mermaids who want to lure you to their kingdom. How can you find out who the real woman is? Just dive and check who has a fishtail. Emily has won the lottery, and now she can choose her prize. There are 3 options: a brand new Ferrari, a Gucci handbag, and Jimmy Choo shoes. Take a closer look at them and tell which prize she should choose. Emily should choose the handbag. The logos of Ferrari and Jimmy Choo are wrong, so the car and the shoes must be fake. So 3 best friends have finally met in a cafe to discuss some business. Val orders a big cake with fruit. Simon asks for a glass of soda. And Leo takes an energy bar out of his bag and starts eating it. The waiter brings the cake and the soda and leaves. Simon drinks from his glass, but Val doesn't touch the cake. Why? There are slices of tomatoes and cucumbers on it. Val asked for a fruitcake. An archaeologist makes his way through the dense jungle of an unknown island. He's looking for a valuable treasure, a 2,000-year-old ancient cup. If he manages to get it, he can sell the artifact for millions of dollars. He comes out to a small lake with a waterfall. He dives under the water and notices 2 caves. The cup is inside one of them. Where should the archaeologist go? Think faster, he's running out of air. He needs to swim to the left cave. Air bubbles are floating out, which means there is some dry land inside the cave. 3 guys are sitting on the sidewalk. They're all in dirty clothes and look tired. Each of them hopes to get some money from people who are passing by. But nobody helps them, since one of these homeless people only pretends to be poor. Passers-by see this and don't want to help any of them. Who do you think is pretending? Look at this bald guy. You can notice a smartwatch on his wrist. Samantha has been wandering through the desert for several hours. The sand is so hot that she can't touch it. Samantha notices a tent far ahead. It's definitely not a mirage. The girl quickens her pace and reaches the spot. She finds a bottle of water, 2 eggs, and a frying pan inside. Samantha quenches her thirst. Now she feels hungry. But it's dangerous to eat raw eggs in the desert. You can get food poisoning. Samantha decides to fry the eggs. She wanders around, trying to find some firewood, but sees nothing but endless dunes. How can Samantha cook the eggs? She can put the pan on the sand. It's hot. The sun will add to this heat, and the eggs will fry. After taking a shower, Albert realizes he's lost his wedding ring. It seems that the ring fell down the drain. Oh no, his wife will return home soon, and she'll definitely notice this disappearance. The wife enters the apartment. She looks at her husband, asks him to turn around, and pulls the ring out of his hair. It got caught there while he was in the shower. But how did the wife know the ring was there? Albert was facing her. There's a mirror behind Albert. The wife noticed the ring in the reflection. 2 powerful film producers are having breakfast in an expensive restaurant. They discuss the budget for a sequel to a very successful movie that got $500 million at the box office. They speak very quietly, since they mention important details of the script. They suspect that someone might overhear them. The producers are right. Some curious people are indeed eavesdropping on their conversation. Can you find them? There's a guy at the next table holding a magazine upside down. Obviously, he isn't reading it. He must be listening to the producers. That girl over there is a journalist. There's a camera lens sticking out of her backpack. See? She will post a video, and fans will be able to read the producer's lips. That man is eating a salad, but you can notice a microphone hidden in his long hair. 3 people are standing in line in front of an ice cream cart. The first guy is taking a cone from the seller. The guy behind him is nervous. His hands are in his pockets. The third guy is looking at something through binoculars. Which of them is a police officer? Look at the first guy. He's got a police radio in his pocket. "Where's my money?" the owner of the diner screams. It's 30 minutes till the end of the working day, but there's no money in the cash register. 3 employees have been working today, but they swear they haven't touched the money. They say there have been no customers in the diner. The boss doesn't believe them. He studies the employees, trying to figure out who's the thief. Linda is wearing a pair of sunglasses, jeans, and a stylish t-shirt. She also has an expensive phone. Michael is dressed in costly designer clothes. Sarah is wearing a regular jacket and a long skirt. Who do you think has stolen the money? They're all telling the truth. Look at the sign on the door. Open, it says. This means people passing by the diner see the closed sign. The employees simply forgot to turn it over, and that's why there have been no customers. Starry sky, fresh cool air, endless dunes, a small campfire, and a tent. This place is a fairy tale. Sarah has always wanted to spend a night in a desert. She takes pictures of the stars, drinks hot tea from a thermos, and enjoys life. It's a perfect night. Too perfect. The smile disappears from Sarah's face. Everything is not real. 2 signs indicate that Sarah is sleeping now. What are these signs? Two moons are shining in the sky. A sea crab is looking at Sarah from the sand. But it's scorpions that usually live in deserts, not sea crabs. Mary opens her eyes and realizes that she's in an unknown place. There's a lot of trash in the room. A red lamp is flashing from the ceiling. Something must have happened here. Mary can leave through the door. It's open. But wait, she needs to take some useful stuff from the room. But what? She can only choose 2 items. Which ones? Mary needs to get scuba gear and a mask. Look at that small window. Fish are swimming by. Mary is underwater. The Millers and the Johnsons are going on a vacation. Can you tell which family has a daughter? Take a closer look at their suitcases. The Millers have 2 suitcases, but the Johnsons have 3. The extra one must be their daughters, who probably just left for a while. Let's move to Norway. After the Christmas break, 2 twin sisters, Alicia and Ada, came to visit their mother. However, one of the sisters has a boyfriend from Thailand, who she had visited right before her mother. Can you tell which one? Norway is a cold country in the north. Also, it's winter. But unlike her twin sister, Ada is tanned. It's probably because she just spent her vacation in some warm country, like Thailand, at her boyfriend's place. So it must be her.
Annika received a letter where someone asked her out. The letter was sweet, but it wasn't signed, so she didn't know who it was. She was guessing 3 guys. All of them were her college friends. Who do you think asked Annika out? Look at this sign at the end of the letter. This guy has the exact same tattoo, so I bet that the letter is from him. An office was robbed and police arrived for an investigation. The money was stolen from a drawer, but there was no trace of breaking in. The lock was fine and the windows were all locked. Look around and try to guess how the robber broke in. Look at the ventilation gate. It's slightly open. The robber must have used this way to get into the office and get out. A police officer was following a robber around the city. Suddenly, the robber entered the hospital and disappeared. When the police officer entered the building, there were 3 workers. One of them must be the robber who dressed up to pretend to be a doctor. Can you tell who? It's the man in the middle. Look at his badge. There's a picture of a woman on it. He must have put on the first pair of clothes he noticed. At daylight, someone painted a wall of a museum, and the police were looking for the person who did it just an hour after it happened. They were roaming the streets of their little town, and they found 3 suspects. Adam said that he'd been at work and just returned. Carter said that he'd been busy painting his fence. Blake said that she'd been walking her dog and didn't know anything about what had happened. Who is guilty? It's Carter. He has paint on his hands, and it indeed goes in line with his alibi that he was painting the fence. But his fence is red, and the paint on his hands is blue, just like the painting on the museum's wall. Mrs. Roberts, a math teacher, returned to the classroom after visiting a principal's office and took a sip of her coffee. She had to spit it out immediately because, instead of coffee, there was blue ink inside. Can you tell which student pranked her? It's this one. Look at his hand. It has ink stains on it. Mrs. Taylor works in a selection committee of a big organization specialized in sustainable and green development. There is an open position for a researcher and she's looking through the applicants. Many of them are fake, either sent by underqualified people or generated by robots. Her task is to filter out real applicants and she needs your help. Let's start with this one. What do you think? Is it a real application? No, it doesn't seem so. This girl was born in 2003, so she's 19 years old. She's way too young to have a PhD. She must be lying. Okay, here's another one. What do you say? This seems to be another fake. Look at his birthday. There was no February 29th in 1991. This application must have been generated by a robot. Okay then, here's the next candidate for you. What's your call? This young lady seems fine. I'd recommend considering her. Here's another candidate. What do you say? He seems fine to me too. Next one, this candidate. Do you see something suspicious, or is it all okay? Of course not. Look at the photo. It's some random photo of a cat. People don't use such pictures in their CVs. It must be a computer-generated fake. Okay, one last candidate to consider. In or out? What do you think? It says that this person is from Narnia. Narnia is a fictional place. It doesn't exist in real life. So this CV must be fake too. A woman called the police and reported that she was robbed. She said that she was in a restaurant bathroom, fixing her makeup when someone attacked her from behind. She couldn't see the person and didn't know what they looked like. The police didn't believe her. Why? The woman was fixing her makeup, so she was looking in the mirror. If someone tried to approach her from the back, she would definitely see the person. So she lied and made up the whole story. Mrs. Cook went on vacation with her 3 daughters, Kaya, Ruby, and Emma. They were on the beach, and Mrs. Cook had to leave to solve some business issues. The girls stayed, but their mother banned them from going into the water without her supervision. So, they were supposed to read or build sandcastles. When Mrs. Cook returned, she knew that one of her daughters didn't listen to her. Which one? It's Kaya. Look, her hair is wet. This wouldn't happen if she didn't go into the water. There was a robbery in a neighborhood. Someone stole the seeds of rare and beautiful flowers from Mrs. Patterson, which she brought from abroad. The police interrogated several neighbors. Mr. Clark said, "I don't work in my garden at all." Mrs. Moore said, "Mrs. Patterson showed me these seeds and gave me a couple of them, but I'd never steal anything." Mr. Campbell said, "I'd mind my own business." Who stole the seeds? It was Mr. Clark. He said that he didn't take care of his garden, but his garden looks way too nice to be abandoned. In a parallel universe, it's only allowed to have fun and eat candy. No one ever reads or studies. Mrs. Relham came back home after a long and fun day at a club and asked her daughters what they'd been doing. Hannah said that she'd been watching TV all day. Elle said that she'd spent a day in the water park. Ava said that she and her friends had had a candy-eating marathon. Still, Mrs. Relham could tell that one of her daughters lied and had actually spent all day studying. Who was it? It was Hannah. Look, the TV is unplugged, but there's a book with her in bed. She's definitely been reading it. On the weekend, Kira and her friends were supposed to celebrate a birthday of a friend online, but Kira didn't feel like it and didn't show up. On Monday, in school, she explained that something had happened and she hadn't had electricity or internet all day. So she'd spent the day in front of the computer writing her midterm paper. Her friends didn't believe her. Why? If there was no electricity, she wouldn't be able to work on her computer because it doesn't work without electricity. I'll keep checking how attentive you are, and here are some more tasks for you. Now I'll show you 2 apartments and you have to figure out which one of them was robbed. Ready to start? Here's the first pair. What do you say? This apartment has a broken window, so obviously it's this one. Okay, great. Now the next one. 2 apartments of 2 different people. Which one was robbed? This one is way too trash to be a regular mess. I bet it was robbed. Another pair of apartments. Can you see which one someone had broken in? There are dirt stains on the floor. Someone was up here in boots. So I think that's the apartment that was robbed. Okay, we'll keep looking at apartments. But now your task is to say who do you think lives there? What profession does the person have? Let's start out easy. What about this apartment? Paintings, brushes, it definitely belongs to an artist. What about this one? Do you have any ideas? Punching bag, boxing gloves, dumbbells, and some other sports equipment. I'd say there's a boxer living there. Take a closer look here. What are your thoughts? A huge desk, many monitors and keyboards, a microphone, a headset, posters of some video games. I bet it's a room of a gamer or streamer. What about this nice and clean room? Do you see something that could give away the profession of the person who lives there? There's a ballet bar, and there are also some tutus in the wardrobe. It's the room of a ballerina. And some more tasks for you. I'll show you some photos, and you'll have to find what's wrong or odd about them. Here's the first one. What do you say? There are people on the surface of the moon, but they're not wearing any spacesuits. Another space-related picture. Do you see a mistake? Look closer. It's not the moon, it's Saturn. What about this photo? Do you see something odd here? Look at the way this guy is eating a banana. Edgar calls Erica and invites her on a date. He offers her to pick the place. Erica wants to test Edgar's logical skills. So, she sends him this rebus. Can you help Edgar show up to the right place? This rebus means Central Square. Finally, Edgar and Erica meet at the Central Square. They spot that one of the people in the crowd is a time traveler. Can you guess who? It's this guy, who's jogging in wooden shoes in the 21st century. Edgar invites Erica to an exclusive party. But unfortunately, the guard refuses to let them in without a password. Edgar says, "Oh, come on, give us a hint." The guard says, "Okay, what time of the day reads the same backward and forward?" Can you help the guys crack the code? The correct answer is noon. The next day, Erica invites Edgar over for dinner. She has some candies in the kitchen. They look similar but have 3 different flavors: 3 orange, 2 strawberry, and 5 grape candies. Suddenly, the lights turn off in the entire building. Now the kitchen is completely dark. How many candies must Erica take out to make sure she has at least 1 candy of each flavor? To figure out the minimal number of candies, subtract 1 from the smallest number, and then add all the larger numbers to it, and you'll get 9. Erica locked her computer with a password and wrote some hints on a sticker. Edgar wants to see her shopping list to pick the perfect gift for Valentine's Day. So, in Erica's absence, he tries to log in. Let's take a look at the hints. Can you help him crack this code? It's not just a list of products, see? The correct password is pilot. Today is Edgar and Erica's wedding day. Man, they move fast. In the morning, the bride is getting ready. First of all, she goes to the shower for 20 minutes. When she returns to her room, she finds out that someone had stained her wedding dress. Only the bridesmaids had access to this dress, so Erica questions them. Lily says, "In the last 20 minutes, I was chatting with your mom in the living room. She can confirm my words." Rosie says, "I'm not proud of it, but I was in the kitchen secretly eating some snacks prepared for the wedding dinner." And Daisy says, "I've been dealing with a flower shop. They delivered the wrong flowers." Can you guess who stained the dress? It was Rosie. There's the same mud under her shoes. It's time to start the ceremony, but Edgar is missing. His mad ex-girlfriend Zoe is a witch. She sneaked into the wedding, caught Edgar, and cloned him. Erica finds Zoe and 6 different Edgars in the basement. Zoe says, "I wanted to make some copies of Edgar to keep him with me. Now I have enough. You can take your husband back." Unfortunately, I don't remember who's the original. Can you help Erica spot the real Edgar? The third one. All the others have paranormal powers. The wedding begins, but there's a thief among the guests. Can you spot this person? It's this innocent-looking lady with 2 purses. Edgar and Erica are going to India for their honeymoon. Can you see what's wrong with their plane? Open fire is prohibited on board. The stewardess must know that. After landing, Edgar and Erica take a taxi and go to their hotel. Suddenly, they see a family of ducks crossing the road. Erica takes a picture, but unfortunately, it's unfocused. Can you count the exact number of ducks? Let's take a look at one duck at a time. We can see 2 beaks, so there's another duck behind the first one. And here we have 2 little ducks near the bigger one. And this duck is single. So far, the overall sum is 6. This guy is not a duck, it's a goose. But there's 1 more duck hiding behind him, and 3 more over here. So the overall number is 10. Erica and Edgar arrive at their hotel. 4 employees greet them in the lobby, but one of them is an imposter. Can you guess who? Take a look at the logo of this hotel. It's a lotus with 6 petals, but the logo on this lady's badge has a 5-petal lotus. Therefore, she's a fake employee. The hotel manager gives the guys a key to the best room for the newlyweds. They go to check out the room, but when they see the interior, they immediately ask for another one. Why? There's a transparent lizard crawling along the curtains. This potted flower has teeth, and someone is clearly peeping at them through the eyes of this portrait on the wall. Erica, Edgar, and their tour guide go hiking. They have 3 backpacks, 1 with sleeping bags and a tent, 1 with warm clothes and camping gear, and the heaviest one, a backpack with food. Each has to choose 1 backpack to carry. Erica readily agrees to take the heaviest one. Why? It'll be getting lighter and lighter after each camp. On the way, the guys decide to go explore the local caves. They walk inside and suddenly a landslide blocks the way back. There are 4 tunnels ahead, each with a sign telling you which dangers lurk inside. There's a family of evil wizards living in the first tunnel. They curse every human who dares to come in. The second tunnel is filled with venomous spiders. The third one is swarmed by bats, and the fourth tunnel is on fire. Which one do you choose to stay safe? They should pick the second tunnel. Spiders don't hurt people for food. Finally, the guys get outside and see a tree with many beautiful parrots. Can you count the exact number of birds in this tree? The task was to count the number of all birds, so there are 10 birds in this tree, including 6 parrots. In the evening, Erica and Edgar are walking in the city. They see a local parade, but there's a thief among the performers. Can you see him too? This guy is sneaking her bracelet.
A new ice cream parlor opens up in Matt's neighborhood. He goes there to check it out. It's pretty crowded because they offer 1 free ice cream serving to each customer. Matt meets a pretty lady named Kitty in the line. He falls in love with her right away, but unfortunately, she's already married. Can you find her husband among these guys? It's the second man. He's the only one who doesn't hold any ice cream. And Kitty is holding 2 ice cream servings, 1 for herself and 1 for her spouse. The next day, Matt missed his alarm, and now he's late for work. His boss is going to be furious. Matt might even get fired. But wait a minute. It turned out that the big boss is out of the office today. He's having a last-minute business trip, so Matt can relax. But suddenly, the boss calls him on the phone.
Hello.
Where are you? You got 10 minutes to get to the office. Matt replies, I am in the subway right now. Well, I got something I need you to do for me. Call me when you're in the office. Matt is a pretty genius liar. How did he fool his boss? Matt had a subway noise track on his computer. He played it when he was on the phone with the boss. Clever. Matt enters the local bakery on the way to the office.
Hello.
The cook brings 2 trays with fresh tartines. Take your time and try to spot 10 differences between them. Ready to see the answer? Here they are. What about these 2 breakfasts? Can you find 10 differences? Over here. Matt arrives at the office. Oh no. Someone has changed the password on their corporate computer. It consists of 7 digits. Matt texts his coworker and asks about the new code. He receives the following reply. Can you help him figure out the code? The number of fingers implies the right digit in the password. So Matt should enter 1, 0, 5, 2, 3, 1, and 0. Matt is an illustrator. His boss sends some files and asks him to separate the images and add some colors. Unfortunately, all the layers are merged. Can you spot 6 different objects in this picture? Here they are. What about this one? Can you spot 11 objects? Over here. Matt's sister, Ashley, is getting married. He arrives at the event, and she asks him to take a picture of her with some friends. But someone pranks the bride in the middle of the photo shoot and spills paint on her beautiful dress. Can you guess who did it by just looking at this picture? It's the man on the right. He has a rope in his hands, and it's tied to the bucket. Ashley changes and the wedding goes great. After the ceremony, they throw a party in a restaurant. This place is very popular among the newlyweds. Matt faces 3 brides in the lobby and spots the fake one right away.
Hello.
What about you? It's the third lady. She's wearing regular jeans and sneakers under her dress. And also, she's wearing a wig. She must be just trying on a costume. The wedding dinner begins, and the waiters serve the first course. But suddenly, the lights turn off for 15 seconds. When the power is back again, Matt finds out that his golden watch is gone. He questions 4 suspects. Karen says, "I was eating the wedding cake when the light turned off. It was delicious." Nick says, "I was talking on the phone with my grandpa. When it got dark, I just continued our conversation." David says, "I was washing my hands in the bathroom." And Stella says, "I was taking pictures of the food for my Instagram. The local cuisine is so fancy." Who's lying? Karen. She said she was eating the cake. But take a look at the wedding cake. It hasn't been cut yet. The dinner has just started. It so happened that Matt is spending the Christmas holidays with 3 of his ex-girlfriends. They go to a fancy ski resort in Alaska. It was the first day of vacation when Matt was found poisoned in his bedroom. The police interrogate his ex-girlfriends. All the 3 ladies went away that day, and Matt stayed in the hotel for a nap. Megan says, "I was shopping all day long." Lola says, "I went to the beach to sunbathe and swim. When I returned, I found Matt lying unconscious." And Sophie says, "I went to the local coffee shop to write my novel. Nobody wanted to join me." Who's lying? Lola, it's Christmas time, so it should be very cold in Alaska. She couldn't swim and sunbathe outdoors. Finally, Matt gets better and leaves the hospital.
Yeah.
He returns to the ski resort and takes a look at the mountains. What are they doing wrong? This guy is riding a snowboard. He doesn't need ski poles. After the Alaska trip, Matt gets a new job in New Orleans. He finds a great apartment and moves in. 3 neighbors knock on his door to greet the new neighbor. One of these ladies is a real witch. Can you spot who exactly? The first lady brought a cake. It looks pretty innocent. The third lady brought a plant. Looking good too. But the second woman brought a basket with food. And there's a snake crawling around her gifts. Matt wakes up in a weird maze in the middle of the night. The only way to escape is to walk through this labyrinth. But unfortunately, there are 4 dangerous creatures waiting for him on the way. First of all, there's a gorgon who turns everybody she sees into stone. Secondly, a werewolf. It's a full moon, so he's very hungry. The third creature is a tree goblin. He can grab people with his strong branches, and it's impossible to get out. And finally, there's a siren who can use her singing to make you do anything she wants. Luckily, Matt has 4 magic potions which can be helpful. Each potion has a 24-hour effect. If you spill the first potion on anybody, they'll become silent. The second potion will make any creature very weak. The third potion turns anyone into a vegan. And the fourth potion causes blindness. Can you help Matt distribute the potions among the creatures correctly? Matt should use the silence potion to neutralize the siren, use the blinding potion against the gorgon, turn the werewolf into a vegan, and weaken the tree goblin.
There was once a magical forest where 32 mermaids, 43 elves, 26 unicorns, and 57 fairies lived. The forest got cursed, and life there got disrupted. The mermaids started living on dry land, forcing the elves to move out. The elves had to move to the territories of the unicorns. The unicorns started to lose their magic powers and needed fairy dust to sustain themselves. So, Fairies had to work overtime and were exhausted. There are 4 spells. One will make elves disappear. The second will make mermaids move to the territories of unicorns instead of elves. The third one will heal the species, but only those with an even number of creatures. The fourth will turn unicorns into fairies. Which one should you use? You should use the third one. The mermaids and unicorns are the species that need to be healed, and both have an even number of creatures. Mrs. Collins has 5 daughters: Hannah, Elle, Eve, Anna, and Ava. What is special about their names? They all have palindromic names, meaning they're the same when you read them from left to right and from right to left. Adam was traveling around the world when he found himself in a little kingdom. He didn't have a map or the internet. He was just wandering around. Also, he couldn't read any signs because he didn't know the language. Adam walked into a beautiful castle and ran into 2 girls. It turned out that it was the castle of the royal family, and no one was allowed in there. The girls agreed not to report him, but only if he guessed which one of them was the princess. Can you help him? Look at the wall. There's a painting of the queen and her daughter. She looks exactly like the girl on the right. I bet she's the princess. Genevieve is a time traveler, and she got to ancient Greece. The girl was so mesmerized by everything that she forgot to be careful and blend in. So, she was captured and taken to the emperor. He could tell that Genevieve wasn't from his land, so he started to interrogate her but didn't believe a single word. Still, he was a nice person, so he gave Genevieve a chance to escape.
Yes!
There were 3 young women in front of her. If she guessed which one of them was his daughter, she'd be set free. Can you help Genevieve? Look, this girl has the exact same necklace as the emperor. It must be his daughter. People invented the time machine, and now there are criminals traveling in time and disrupting time flow. The time police tried to catch the imposters, and they need your help. Look at this picture. Do you see the time traveler? It's this dude here. Look at his fancy modern haircut. Back in that era, people didn't have barber shops.
Yeah.
Moving on to the Wild West. Do you see the time traveler here? It must be this person, the one wearing modern sneakers. The next stop is ancient Egypt. Take a very close look and find someone who doesn't belong here. What is this girl wearing? A tank top and shorts? No, she's not from here. Okay, we have to catch some more. For example, here, do you see anything suspicious? I don't think people had cell phones back then. This is the imposter. Okay, another Stone Age image for you. Who doesn't fit in here? This girl looks like a Stone Ager, but she's reading a book. There were no books back then.
Hello.
Great, there's just one last time traveler to catch, and they're in the Middle Ages. Look closely and tell me who you think it is. This guy is wearing headphones. Yeah, that's him.
Oh my god!
Mr. Thompson was in his house reading a newspaper when he heard some noise outside. He walked out and saw that someone had crashed into his car. He asked his neighbors what they'd been doing. Scarlett said that she'd been at home playing video games. Charles said that he'd just come back after a walk with his dog. Tessa said that she'd been gardening behind her house. Who lied? It must be Tessa. She doesn't have any gardening tools with her. And she isn't dressed properly for gardening. Serena was having a party in her house, and she invited all her classmates. In the middle of the party, the lights went off for a couple of minutes. When the light came back on, Serena realized that her parents' expensive vase covered in diamonds had been stolen. 3 people seemed suspicious to her. Tatum said, "I was in the bathroom." Quinn said, "I didn't steal anything. I didn't even know the vase was so expensive." Dean said, "When the lights went off, I fell into the pool and I was pretty busy getting out." Who lied? Dean, for sure. If he had fallen into the pool, he'd be all wet, but his clothes are completely dry. In a little town, someone stole a bucket of chicken wings from a local store. 3 customers were the main suspects. Mr. Cook was interrogated at work.
Hello.
I was in a rush and just got something for lunch. I didn't steal anything.
Mrs. Bailey was at home making breakfast. I only got some fresh vegetables. My family is vegan.
What?
Dale, a college student, was in the park studying. I got my sandwich and left. I didn't know anything about the theft. Who lied? Mrs. Bailey. She said her family was vegan, but she has cheese and cow milk on the table. Vegans don't eat any of that. In a parallel universe, it's only allowed to have fun and eat candy. No one studies or does anything useful. Mr. Relham came back home after shopping with her friends all day and asked her daughters what they'd been doing. I was eating popcorn and binge watching a TV show, said Hannah. I was playing soccer with my friends, said Elle. I was at the beach with some friends, said Ava. Who lied? It must be Hannah. Look, she hasn't even started her popcorn, and there's also a book under her bed. Elle's soccer team played 6 matches in the season. They won 2, drew 2, and lost 2. In total, they conceded 2 goals and scored 3. What are the results of all 6 matches? Every time they lost, they must have conceded at least 1 goal. They lost 2 matches and conceded 2 goals, which means they conceded 1 goal each time. The scores of these matches must be 0-1. We're out of conceded goals, so the scores of the 2 drawn matches should be 0-0. Now, we're only left with 3 goals and 2 winning games. So, in one game, they must have won with a score of 1-0, and in the other, with a score of 2-0. Ava was out partying with her friend all week, so her room is a complete mess now. It's Friday, and she's planning to go on a picnic with her best friend. She needs her bag, her sunglasses, and her cell phone. Can you help her find them? Here they are. Great job. It's Saturday, and Ava still hasn't had time to clean. Now she's heading to her classmate's place for a pool party. She needs her swimsuit, her necklace, and her heels. Can you find them? Yes, they're all here. Ava is getting ready and realizes that a lot of her stuff isn't in the bathroom. She remembers she lent it to Elle. Elle says that the stuff is in her room, which is, of course, also a mess. Can you help Ava find her lipstick, her hairdryer, and her hairbrush? Here they are. Did you find them all? Elle is getting ready for her soccer practice. She needs her football, her sneakers, and her lunchbox. Where are they? They're all right here. Hannah returned home after a short walk and immediately noticed that her favorite bracelet was gone. She knew that Ava loved it and that she was getting ready for a party, so she was the main suspect. Hannah ran into Ava in the bathroom and demanded her bracelet back.
I was taking a shower while you were gone and then getting dressed without leaving the bathroom. I wouldn't have had any time to take your bracelet.
Hannah knew that Ava lied. How? If Ava had really taken a shower, the bathroom mirror would be misted. But look, it's all clear. This video is brought to you by Skillshare. Skillshare is a huge learning community with thousands of online classes and members from all over the world. That's where you can get inspiration and learn pretty much any skill you can only imagine. Ah, now I see where the name comes from. Let's say you want to figure out how to work in After Effects. By the way, that's exactly how this tricky riddles video has been made. Well, Skillshare is the answer. There, you'll find all kinds of classes, including the ones on how to animate illustrations. I'm talking about the course Animate Your Illustrations with After Effects, curated by motion designer and illustrator Manon Luar. You can learn how to loop and refine your animation, how to add animated textures, you name it. And want to know the best thing? The first 1,000 people who use this link will get a 1-month free trial of Skillshare. No matter what your skill level is, Skillshare has tons of useful information for you. And it's not just creative stuff. You can find business courses, finance classes, and so much more. Ren comes home after work. He lives with his girlfriend Maya. But she's absent, which is strange because she works from home. Ren finds this note on the fridge. After looking through the note, he calls the police and says, "Please come over. Someone kidnapped my girlfriend." How did he know? Maya left an encoded hint in this list of products. The number shows which letter you should take away from each word. I from fish, A from apple, M from watermelon, and so on. And finally, we'll get, I am kidnapped. The police search Ren's apartment for clues. They find a fresh postcard from Maya's ex-boyfriend Frank among her documents. There's a weird poem on the back of the postcard. Frank is a literature teacher. He was always good at writing, and he couldn't make such mistakes. The officer reads the poem and realizes that Frank kidnapped Maya. How did he know? Take the first letter of each word and you'll get Maya is mine. The police decide to issue a search warrant, but Ren can't wait. He goes to Frank's house to save Maya. On the way, he sees these 3 people in the neighborhood. Can you spot who's suspicious? The blind guy. How would he use this common camera? Ren tries to open Frank's door, but it's locked. He has to enter a 6-number code. Can you help him? This picture is a hint. If we count all the points of intersection of the circles, we'll get the code 237640. Ren enters Frank's house and spots 3 odd details right away. Can you see them too? The carpet is flying. There's a boot boiling on the stove. Take a look at Maya's portrait on the wall. Her eyes are moving. Ren finds Maya in the basement. She looks scared. Frank pops out of nowhere and offers Ren a deal. I'm gonna tell you 3 facts about Maya. If you manage to spot 1 lie, I'll let both of you go. Ren agrees. Maya and I met at college. Snakes are her biggest phobia, and Maya was the first woman who I kissed. Can you help Ren spot 1 lie? Maya is wearing snake earrings. It's unlikely that she would wear them if the second fact was true. Frank tells Ren and Maya, "Okay, you can go now. You can choose one of these 3 doors. There's 1,000 venomous snakes behind the first door. There's a maze with carnivorous mutant plants behind the second door. And there's a garden with the most poisonous berries in the world behind the third door.
Which way should they choose?
The third one. Nobody said that they have to eat the berries. Maya and Ren come home. Suddenly, a ball breaks their window. They look outside and see 5 teenagers playing basketball. One of them broke the window. Each makes 3 statements. 1 is false and 2 are true. Ken says, "I didn't do it. Jessica will tell who did it. One of us is in big trouble." Love says,
Mia did it. I didn't do it. I don't even like to play basketball.
Victoria says,
I didn't do it. Mia and I are good friends. Jessica doesn't know who did it.
Mia says,
Love lied when she said I broke the window. I had never seen Victoria before today. I've never broken a window in my life.
and Jessica says,
I saw Mia break it. I didn't break the window. I want to go home.
"Who broke the window?" Mia's statements 1 and 3 must be true since each player told only one lie. Therefore, Mia's statement 2 is false. Now the words of all the other players can then be proven true or false using this information. Since we know that Mia's statement 2 is false, Jessica's statement 1 and Love's statement 1 have to be false. Ken's statement 2 has to be false, since Jessica didn't tell who did it. So now it's obvious that Victoria did it. Maya has 2 friends, Claire and Naomi. They're both beauty bloggers. One of them is a beginner, while another has 1 million followers. Can you guess who's more popular? Naomi has more subscribers. She has a 1 million gold award from YouTube hidden on her shelf. Also, take a look at Claire's phone. She's watching Naomi's video and repeats after her. Ren invites Maya on an unusual date. They go to a farm. He takes these 2 pictures. Can you see any difference between them? Here they are. Ren's landlord is selling his apartment, so he asks Ren and Maya to move out. Ren decides to take some extra job to raise his income so that they could afford to rent a cozy cabin in the woods. He's been working as a graphic designer all his life, but now he's open to new options. Can you help him find the most reliable offer on his wall? He doesn't have experience to become a firefighter, and the second offer is for ladies only. The remaining options are good, but only the job of a forester is ideal because it provides a free cabin, just what Ren wanted. Ren and Maya begin to pack their bags. Maya can't find these 3 items. Can you help her? Here they are. Maya and Ren are visiting the local farmer's market. Can you find a ghost among all these people? This lady with transparent legs. Finally, Ren and Maya arrived at their new cabin, but it's locked. They find this weird note on the door. Can you help them solve this mystery? Replace every letter in this note with the one after it in the alphabet, and we get key under rose pot. Ren, Maya, Rose, and Mike are best friends. They gather to celebrate Thanksgiving at the cabin. They agreed to buy gifts for each other. Ren buys a little statue. Maya buys a bottle of perfume. Mike buys a watch. And Rose buys a phone. The gifts were packed in identical boxes. Finally, the friends exchange gifts. everyone gets someone else's box. Mike got neither a statue nor perfume, and Rose got the watch. What did Ren get? Rose got the watch, so Mike could only get the phone. It means that Ren got the perfume and Maya got the statue. In the middle of the party, Ren goes to the toilet. He leaves his phone on a table. In a while, he returns and finds out that his phone is missing. Ren asks everyone just one question.
What did you do when I was in the toilet?
Rose says,
I was watching a movie in the living room. The story is so sweet.
Mike says, I was decorating the living room. I think I heard your phone vibrating, but I didn't bother. And Maya says,
I applied makeup in the bedroom. Do you like it?
Can you guess who stole the phone? It was Mike. Ren didn't mention that his phone was gone. Maya is having brunch in a cafeteria. She's the only customer. The waitress brings her food. Maya opens a pot with soup and sees a huge spider. But thankfully, it's a toy. One of these 3 cafeteria workers pranked Maya. Can you guess who? It's the guy on the left. He's the only one who doesn't hold a phone. His gadget is on the stand here, filming Maya's reaction. Just look at this! A car has crashed into a restaurant window, smashing it. Detective Harris has come to investigate the case. There are 2 suspects, Julie and Douglas. But each of them claims that the other person did it. Can you help the detective figure out who is lying? It's Julie. The tire tracks on the ground belonged to her car. Adam was driving home late at night when he noticed he was about to run out of gas. He stopped at a gas station to fill his tank and buy some snacks. Inside, there was a cashier and another customer dressed in black. When Adam came up to the employee to pay, she told him $5.05. Adam paid, went outside, and called the police to report an emergency. Why did he do it? The cash register showed $18.35, but the cashier said $5.05, which looks like SOS. Detective Harris was walking along the street when he heard some noise. He decided to check out what had happened. It turned out that some man had grabbed an elderly lady's bag and run away. The detective ran in the direction the witnesses showed him. After he turned the corner, he saw 3 doors. He knocked on the first one. The apartment owner, Patrick, opened the door. The man told the detective he'd just returned from a long run. Another man, Jerry, opened the second door. He said he'd been playing basketball behind his house. The third apartment belonged to Raymond, a musician. He had just finished composing a new piece of music. After talking to all these people, Detective Harris understood who the criminal was. Have you figured it out? The thief is Jerry. He claimed he'd been playing basketball, but he was holding a football while talking to the detective. Sarah and her sister Mary were doing some shopping. When they were leaving a grocery store, Sarah pointed at some young man and exclaimed, "Look, my nephew is over there!" Her sister replied, "Oh right, but it's not my nephew." How is it possible? The young man is Mary's son. Gemma returned from Asia and brought a precious porcelain figurine. She organized a party and invited all her friends to tell them about her journey. They had a great time, but after her friends left, the woman realized the figurine had disappeared. She called the police and showed them the photo she had taken at the party. One of the officers immediately realized who had stolen the figurine. Did you understand it too? It was this girl. She hid the figurine under her hat. At 9 a.m., Ethan got a call from his friend, an owner of a large business. The man said that a very important document had disappeared from his office. It had been on his desk the evening before, but now it was nowhere to be found. Ethan immediately came there to question his friend's employees. Soon, he had 3 suspects. Walter said he'd spent the previous evening at the movies. Joan had dinner with her friends, and Zachary visited an art gallery. It didn't take Ethan long to understand who was lying. Do you know it too? It was Walter. His ticket isn't torn. It means he didn't enter the movie theater. Now, look at these hands and try to figure out which person is married. If you look at the first hand attentively, you'll realize it doesn't belong to a grown-up person. On the second hand, there is a mark left by a ring, but there's no ring itself. It must mean that the person is no longer married. On the third hand, there's no ring either, but it's the right hand, and we wear wedding rings on the left hand. So out of these 3, this person is most likely to be married. Okay, the next challenge is for you. Look at these 3 men. They're at the airport. Which of these guys is married? All of these men are holding their passports and tickets in their hands. None of them is wearing a wedding ring. But pay attention to the man sitting on the bench. On his ticket, it's written, "Family discount." So, he must be the one who's married. Now look at this picture attentively. Does anything strike you as strange? It's winter, but butterflies are flying around the snowman. Now, try to figure out what's wrong with this image. It's the snowman again. Instead of a carrot, his nose is made of broccoli. And the last image for you to analyze. Why does the guy on the right need ski poles if he's going to snowboard? Marcus woke up in a dark basement with just one candle burning on the table. He saw 3 doors in one of the walls and 3 keys lying on the table. How many attempts will the guy need to figure out the key for each door? He'll need 6 attempts at the most, 3 of them for the first key, 2 attempts for the second key and 2 remaining doors, and just 1 attempt for the last key. But if Marcus is extremely lucky, he might need just 3 attempts. Alicia's mom asked the girl to do some grocery shopping. She gave her a shopping list and her bank card. But the woman knew her daughter was very absent-minded. That's why she gave Alicia a small note in case she forgot the card's PIN number. When the girl was at the register, she realized she had indeed forgotten the PIN. Alicia pulled a note out of her pocket and immediately remembered the code. Can you figure out what it was if the note had a fly, a cat, a person, and a snake drawn on it? The PIN was 6420. Alicia just had to count the number of legs of each creature. A fancy restaurant in Los Angeles was offering a promotional deal. A married couple could eat at the restaurant for half price on their anniversary. To prevent scams, the couple would need proof of their wedding date. On a Thursday evening, a couple entered the restaurant and claimed it was their anniversary, but they didn't have any proof. The restaurant manager was called to speak with the couple. When the manager asked to hear about their wedding day, the wife said,
"Oh, it was a wonderful Sunday afternoon, Birds were chirping and flowers were in full bloom.
After nearly 10 minutes of ranting, she told the manager that today was their 28th wedding anniversary.
How lovely, the manager said. However, you do not qualify for the discount. Today is not your anniversary. You are a liar.
How did the manager know it wasn't their anniversary? The calendar repeats itself every 28 years. So if they were married on a Sunday 28 years ago, the day they came to the restaurant would also have to be a Sunday. But since it was a Thursday, the manager knew they were lying. John called the police to report that his friend Mark had disappeared. He explained that 2 weeks earlier, he had offered Mark to live in his beach house in Miami. He wanted his friend to enjoy some summer heat, but when John returned from a half-month-long business trip to Chile, he found out that Mark was missing. The police listened to John's story and understood the man was lying. How did they figure it out? If it was summer in Miami, it was winter in Chile. And still, John came back suntanned. It means he hadn't been to Chile. Maya was in the gym doing the workout her personal trainer had prepared for her. It was tougher and longer than her usual ones. Exhausted, Maya returned to the changing room only to find her expensive bag gone.
Oh no!
She immediately called the police. They had 3 suspects. Maya's trainer said that he had been preparing a new program for his clients. Emma, another gym goer, said she had been running on a treadmill for 2 hours. The cleaner said he had been washing the swimming pool. Who took Maya's bag? It was her trainer. He knew Maya was going to have a long workout and wouldn't return to the changing room anytime soon. Susan found out that her favorite pop band was playing a private concert for VIP clients in a luxurious club. She decided to sneak inside through the back door. But, unfortunately, Susan came across a strict guard behind the door. He refused to let Susan inside without a password. But, luckily for her, there was a hint on the guard's t-shirt. The hint was to infinity plus BD. Susan deciphered the hint and was allowed to enter. Can you guess what the password was? It was to infinity and beyond. After the concert, Susan met up with her friend Bobby. Bobby was an expert in ghost activity. He invited Susan to go ghost hunting to a creepy old hotel. Of course, Bobby had state-of-the-art equipment. Once they arrived at the hotel, his equipment indicated there was strong paranormal activity going on. It looked like the ghost had a sense of humor and wanted to play hide-and-seek with them before it revealed itself. It led Bobby and Susan into a room with 4 doors. Each door had an inscription on it with some clues. The sign on door A said, "It's behind B or C." The sign on door B claimed, "It's behind A or D." Door C said, "It's in here." And door D stated, "The ghost isn't here." Bobby and Susan looked very confused until a note appeared next to their feet. It said, 3 of the inscriptions are false and 1 is true. Can you guess which door leads to the ghost? Let's see how this works. If the ghost was behind door A, then both statements B and D would be true. If it was behind door B, then both A and D would be true. If the ghost was behind door C, then A, C, and D would be all true. But if the ghost was behind door D, then the statements on all the doors would be false, except for that on door B. This fits the rules, so the ghost must be behind door D. The next morning, Bobby called Susan again, saying that he had a surprise. He had won 2 tickets to Susan's favorite theme park and asked her if she wanted to go. Before she answered, though, Bobby warned her that she had to crack a very difficult riddle. Only then would he give her a ticket. She agreed. For a school challenge, 100 students received a number between 1 and 100. Each student was instructed to go inside a classroom that had exactly 100 boxes randomly numbered from 1 to 100. Inside each box, there was a slip of paper with a random number between 1 and 100 on it. Now, each student needed to enter the classroom on their own and find the box that contained the slip of paper with their number on it. But in order to do so, each of them was only allowed to open a maximum of 50 boxes. They were instructed to leave the room exactly as they found it, and they weren't allowed to communicate with other students once they'd left the room. If all of the students managed to find their numbers inside the boxes, they would each get $100. But if one of them wasn't able to find their number, none of them would be able to win the prize. Bobby asked Susan if she knew the best strategy for all of the students to find their numbers and win the prize. After a few hours, Susan called Bobby with the answer. She managed to figure out the riddle. Can you guess what she answered? This riddle isn't obvious, but let's see how it works. If each student searched for their numbers randomly, they would each have a 50% chance of finding the box with their number inside. This is because there were 100 boxes and they were allowed to look inside 50 of them. However, the probability of all of them finding their own number following this random strategy is absurdly small. So, to increase their chances of collectively finding their numbers, they would need a better approach. The students could use something called the loop strategy. After entering the classroom, they should go directly toward the box that has their number on top of it. The number inside probably won't be their number, but that's okay. They should check the number inside the box and go look for the box with that same number on top of it, and so on and so forth. They should keep doing this until they find the paper with their number on it. This strategy means there's more than a 30% chance of the students finding their numbers and winning the prize. It's not a huge probability, but hey, at least they'll have fun trying to figure it out. One afternoon, Susan found her father, Frank, in the living room. Frank was a private investigator and he had just received a message revealing the address of the town's most dangerous criminal, Dirty Jack. He decided to go check the area, even though he didn't know what the criminal looked like. The address turned out to be an old warehouse. When he busted inside, he found 4 people sitting at a table. They were a carpenter, a truck driver, a mechanic, and a firefighter. Without any hesitation, Frank arrested the firefighter. How did he know it was the criminal? The firefighter was the only man in the room. The rest of the people were women. Bobby and Susan decided to go grab a cup of coffee. But when their orders arrived, Bobby's drink came with a fly in it. He called the waiter and asked him to change his cup. The waiter brought him another cup of coffee, but 2 seconds later, Bobby called the waiter again and said, "Hey, that's the same cup." How did he know? Because Bobby had already put sugar in his coffee. And when he tasted the new drink, it already had sugar in it. Susan and her family went on vacation to their country house, but unfortunately, it was raining heavily. It kept raining for 13 days. When it rained in the morning, the afternoon was beautiful and clear. And when it rained in the afternoon, the next day was blessed with a clear, sunny morning. Overall, Susan's family experienced 11 nice mornings and 12 nice afternoons. Can you find out the total number of days they spent in the country house? The total number is 18 days. Here's how you can figure it out. Let's call clear afternoons X, clear mornings Y, and periods of time with no rain O. This equation represents the number of days with rain, X plus Y equals 13. And here are the days with clear mornings, Y plus O equals 11. And this equation represents the days with clear afternoons, X plus O equals 12. If we solve these 3 equations, we'll learn that X equals 7, Y equals 6, and O equals 5. So the total number of days is 18. Bobby started his morning by jogging in the park near his house. When he returned, he got to know some very unpleasant news. Someone had stolen his car. He questioned 3 of his neighbors. Henry said, "I've been playing video games for the past 12 hours and haven't left my basement." Rosie said,
I'm a gardener. I've been planting daisies in the public area all morning, and I think I saw a suspicious man who opened the car using a knife.
Jack said, "I saw your car when I went out for groceries, but when I returned home, it was gone." Who's lying? Rosie. She said she planted daisies, but look, there are only rose bushes in this area. One day, Susan found a box on her desk with a note that read, "What can run but never walks, has a mouth but never speaks, has a head but never weeps, has a bed but never sleeps." Can you decipher this riddle? The correct answer is a river.
Psst. Share in the comments how many of these riddles you will answer correctly. Samantha and Jack got stranded on a tiny uninhabited island. They had no radio or cell phones, so they couldn't inform rescuers about their dire situation. There were no trees on the island, so they couldn't make a smoke signal, and all around them was just sand and rocks. Suddenly, Samantha noticed a plane circling the sky in search of them. Unfortunately, it was flying too high, and the pilot couldn't see them. That's when she got a bright idea. Soon after, the plane picked them up. What was Samantha's idea? To use rocks to spell out SOS on the sand. Detective Cooper needed to find out the very last piece of missing information in a case he had been dealing with lately. He finally got to the office where secret documents were hidden. To open the door, he needs to choose the right button. There are 3 of them, a yellow one, a green one, and a blue one. Which one should the detective choose? The detective needs to choose the blue button. It's pretty worn out, so it must have been used many times. Plus, there's a small note with a warning. The green button is for an emergency, and the yellow one shuts all the doors and turns off the lights in the whole building. Wow, I want one of those. One day, Amanda thought her boyfriend Eric had a secret from her. To find out what it was, she needed access to his laptop. She had no idea what the password was, but luckily, there was a post-it note right on his desk. However, she needed to decipher the pass. Apple, man, dawn. Can you crack this code? Right, it's Amanda. Her name is the code. By the way, the secret he was hiding was the birthday present Eric had been choosing for her. Well, that's what you get for snooping. Jack and Jim agreed to say yes all day long to all questions. If one of them doesn't say yes to a question, he automatically loses and must give $100 to his friend. Jim realized there was one question nobody could say yes to. What question was it? Jim realized nobody could say yes to the "Are you asleep?" question. Jim waited until Jack took a nap and recorded a video in which Jack replied with a snoring but not yes to Jim's question. Seems like a cheap shot. Jason is a shop assistant in a department store. At the moment, there are 3 people in a fitting room he's assisting. Jessica, the girl, is wearing a green dress. Sean, a man wearing a leather jacket and skinny jeans. And Alex, the man who's currently taking a larger pair of jeans that Jason brought him. One of the clients is an alien. Jason has to figure out who it is. It's Alex. Take a closer look at his feet. Only a reptile or an alien could have such feet. Julian needed to find a very important document he'd lost. He looked through all the papers and finally found something that looked like the document he actually needed. However, a couple of seconds later, he realized there were 4 copies of this document looking precisely the same, or not. Can you guess which one is the real document? It's the one in the upper left corner. It has a stamp and a signature, and it says Agreement. The one next to it looks similar, but it has a spelling mistake. It says Agreedment. The rest of the copies lack either a stamp or a signature. Mr. and Mrs. Jones are fond of art and love collecting rare and expensive pieces. Once they had to go on a business trip, and when they came back home, they realized something precious was missing. They instantly called the police, but the officers were confused because no painting was taken. Why were Mr. and Mrs. Jones worried then? A frame was missing. In fact, it cost much more than many art pieces, as it was encrusted with gems. Mary was walking in the woods and suddenly saw a really fancy castle. It was getting late, and she thought she might ask for a stay there overnight. It was a wicked troll's castle, and he really didn't like intruders. Mary was captured and locked in a dark room with 2 guards. Still, the troll gave her a chance to break free. There are 2 doors in the room. One door leads to freedom, and the other is locked. The guards know which door will set Mary free. One of the guards always tells the truth, while the other always lies, and Mary doesn't know who it is. She can ask just one question to one guard only. What question should she ask? If Mary says, "If I ask your colleague to show me the way to freedom, what door will it be?" No matter what the guard replies, they will point at the locked door. The one that lies will show the wrong door, and the one that doesn't lie will show the wrong door too, since it would be chosen by the one who lies. This way, Mary knows the wrong door, and she needs to select the other one. One man went to his friend's party and told his wife he'd be back before sunrise. He shaved and left home. He returned, as promised, before sunrise, but he was sporting a long, thick beard. How come? The man and his wife live in a place with polar nights that last for several months. Anthony, the financial director of a big company, finally persuaded new partners to sign a super important agreement. He then put this document into a folder and left it on the table in his office. When he arrived at work the following day, the folder was gone. Anthony gathered all the employees in the office at the time and questioned them. The cleaning lady said she had been busy washing the floor and hadn't paid attention to anything around. The designer explained that he hadn't left his working place even once. What's more, being an artist, he didn't have any interest in agreement documents. The accountant admitted that he had entered Anthony's office to have some documents signed, but once he noticed there was no one inside, he immediately left. Who took the folder with the agreement? It was the designer. Anthony never mentioned which folder was gone. How would he know that the missing folder had an agreement inside? Eric wears either only black or only white socks. One morning, he was in a hurry to get ready for an important meeting. Suddenly, the power goes out. The guy has 10 white and 10 black socks in his drawer, but all of them are mixed. He doesn't want to look silly at work wearing different socks. If it's completely dark in the room and Eric can't see anything, how many socks should he pull out of the drawer to get himself 2 matching ones? Three socks are more than enough. In a set of 3 socks, he's bound to have 2 of the same color. Jane told her boss someone had taken the documents she had prepared for the meeting. She added that she had noticed someone come in wearing a smart suit, gloves, and a black mask. This person also had 3 rings on their fingers. The boss didn't believe her. Why? She said the person was wearing gloves. Then how did she see 3 rings on their fingers? Jane must have simply forgotten to print those documents out. On a nice warm day, Vivian, who lived in a town on the seashore, decided to go for a hike alone. But after hours of trekking, she ended up in a section of the forest she wasn't familiar with. Before her, there were 3 paths. One path had bare footprints leading away. Another had human footprints. And the third one was right by the river. Which one should Vivian take to find her way? The river path. Since she lives in a coastal town, the river mouth most likely ends up in the sea. That way, she could figure out where she was.